New World Order delayed by credit crunch, say beefy wankers, wealthy bankers. Holocaust in Gaza, but nothing like the Jewish one, says Camp Condamta. In the UK, new identity passport cards for babies, embryos, fetus and students. Hello catatonic cattle people, welcome to the fucking news. I'm tongue-in-cheek, here are tonight's top stories. The much anticipated New World Order has been delayed by instability in world financial markets, the credit crunch, and some commentators say infighting and indecision amongst a few wealthy banking families that rule over us all with no trouble at all. In a much anticipated announcement by Ordono Nullis Mundi, President of the World and spokesperson for the New World Order, a new timetable for global domination, one world government, population reduction and the unifying religion of all shopping oneness was presented to the world. Here's Ordono Mundi from the headquarters of the New World Order, somewhere in Patagonia. People of Earth, many of you have been expecting the New World Order for some time now, and believe me, we want to give it to you. We do. It had been hoped that by now many of you would be dead or rounded up and microchipped and re-educated into the new streamlined religion of all oneness and shopping paradise. Yes, it has. However, rising awareness of our evil and a lack of borrowing by the debt cattle of the Western world has meant a slight delay. So, we have delayed the launch of the New World Order shopping brand until 2012. From now until then, we will continue brainwashing you with fake terror, news about shopping and rumors about Planet X and the Mayan calendar. That's a good one. This will keep you distracted while we get you and your countries into more debt with our glorious bankers, leaders. And of course, we have to line up some schmuck to take the fall for the nuclear war. We are going to start quite soon now, I assure you. Until then, if you could all please suspend your critical thinking and keep buying shit you don't need and help us prepare for your eternal economic slavery, that would be great. Remember, above all else, consumers live in debt and exist to shop. Without your complicity in this great evil enterprise, we are powerless to fuck you. And so, in closing, I would like to say, long live the Fourth Reich of shopping, the New World Order. All hail our glorious banking rulers. At 16.9% APR, subject to status, conditions apply. Remember, your planet is at risk if you do not keep up payments on it or a loan secured against it. Sieg Heil! Interest rates. Think, slobber, slobber, slobber. Thank you, Ordono Nullis Mundi. Some commentators have pointed to the emergence of India, Russia and China as economic and military powers and suggested that negotiation between these players and the Masonic Illuminati, Habsburg, Bilderbergers, do you want to be in my gang, fascist Nazi bully boy thugs, may delay the onslaught of one world government and elite rule over us all. More on that story later. In the area of the planet designated as Israel by internationally agreed treaties, Deputy Defense Minister Matan Vilnai threatened a holocaust against Gaza if Palestine militants stepped up their rocket fire against Israel. Deputy Minister Matan Vilnai said, "More Qassam rocket fire intensifies and the rockets reach a longer range, they, the Palestinians, will bring upon themselves a bigger holocaust because we will use all our might to defend ourselves." Going on not to say, of course it will be nothing like the one perpetrated by the Nazis on the European Jews in the Second World War. The Palestinians will not have their land and property taken from them. Their businesses will not be closed down. They will not be segregated into ethnic enclaves. They will not be rounded up and herded into smaller and smaller living spaces. They will not have their supplies of water, food, medical assistance cut off. They will not be treated as second-class humans. They will not have a much larger, superior military force kill their women and children and other innocent civilians. They will not be subject to torture and imprisonment without trial. Yes, they will. Anyway, they will not be deprived of the right to elect their own leaders. They will. They will not be forced to carry identification at all times or risk punishment or imprisonment. Who wrote this? They will not be walled into ghettos where their movements are controlled and their entire populations made to suffer for the supposed crimes of a few. Okay, look, well, maybe that sounds a bit like the same thing, but once upon a time we suffered these things. So of course we are allowed to do it to other humans, you know? I mean, any reasonable person can see the logic of our argument. The killing, the torture, the killing and torture we do is okay, because once upon a time our ancestors were killed and tortured, you see? Okay? In the UK, Home Secretary Jackie Smith has announced a rethink of its identity card scheme with the introduction of new passport-style cards, which will be delayed from 2010 to 2012 to coincide with the introduction of the New World Order. Ms. Smith told BBC Radio 4's Today programme she wanted to speed up the introduction of the cards by making them compulsory for some groups at an earlier stage. Non-EU nationals will be issued with compulsory ID cards this year. Airport baggage handlers and people in other sensitive security roles will get them from 2009, with students to get them from 2010, from which time it will also be compulsory for the unborn to have biometric passports or identity cards. Unfertilized eggs will be exempt until 2012, but embryos and the fetus of pregnant women must be able to prove who they are as soon as possible. We need to be clear that the technology is there, and of course Parliament would have the final decision as to whether or not and when entry onto the identity register became compulsory for male sperm and unfertilized eggs, Mrs. Smith went on not to say. There are big advantages to making the population as afraid and cowed as possible. ID cards will allow us to enforce our police state more easily. The government claims identity cards will boost security, tackle identity fraud and prevent illegal immigration. However, security experts have pointed out that those convicted of terrorism in recent years were never involved in identity fraud, and none of these measures will stop credit card fraud or prevent immigrants from entering the country. A civil liberties spokesperson opposed to ID cards said, "Whether you volunteer or are coerced into the ID database, there's no way back. You'll be monitored for life. That's why the government is targeting students and young people to get them on before they realise what's happening." Shortly after this, he was bundled into the back of a car, shot in the head and dumped in the River Thames. I, for one, have nothing to hide and nothing to fear from revealing my identity to the state. I am the walrus, Kukukchu. I am Cornholio. Are you threatening me? I'm the man who ate the boiled ham raw. I am Spartacus. No, I am. Thanks, and now the weather. Gathering clouds of war, some low-flying spy planes, and a period of unsettled behaviour, clearing up as oppression and tyranny take hold over the next couple of years. Have a nice weekend.